a delight. Get your fix of pop culture every night. Ooh, what's happening in Beverly Hills?
Welcome back to Pop Culture Exposé. Can you believe it? We are already into the second half of this first season, as during the first part of it, we have been diving into the history of pop culture, starting from the 1900s all the way to the present day. And now we're shifting gears into something that goes hand in hand with pop culture. But really crazy how time flies when you are spilling tea, and honey, the kettle has never been hotter. But today we are unlocking the vaults on one of the most tantalizing corners of Hollywood: blind items and gossip. You know, those juicy little whispers that keep us all up at night, wondering who's doing what and with whom. From old Hollywood's iconic scandals to today's social media sleuths, we're diving into the rumors, the blinds, and the secrets that make us love and sometimes hate celebrity culture.
It's Daniel, aka Danny Gossip Girl. I've got the scoop on Bravo and blinds. Let's go. When the stars come out to play, you know where to stay. Tune into the buzz, it's the talk of the day. From Bravo shows to the latest celeb spree, we've got the tea, come sip it with me. Danny Gossip Girl, Pop Culture Exposé. We're spilling all the secrets every single day. From Hollywood lights to the gossip blinds, catch the news, don't get left behind.
All right, let's get into it. First things first. What exactly is a blind item? Think of it as the original guessing game of Hollywood. A blind item is kind of like a juicy piece of gossip that you can't wait to share, but instead of naming names, it drops little breadcrumbs. It's a cryptic hint, a carefully worded mystery that lets you peek behind the scenes of the celebrity world without giving everything away. Blinds make the public feel like they're in on the secret, sparking debates, rumors, and a whole lot of who could it be. So today we are uncovering how blinds became a cornerstone of celebrity gossip. We're starting with the origins of the gossip columns, where names like Walter Winchell, Louella Parsons, and Hedda Hopper turned their whisper network of Hollywood into an all-out industry. These early columnists set the tone, hinting at scandals and romances, just enough mystery to keep everyone guessing, and they practically invented the blind format. Then we'll slide into the golden age of blinds from the 1950s to the 80s, where the Hollywood was glossier and the blinds even juicier. In that era, we had blinds like Who's the Married Crooner with the Secret Lover, and the infamous blonde bombshell making waves with her director, which took on a life of its own in the public's imagination. Next, it's all about the 80s and 90s, a time when tabloid culture exploded. This is where we see blinds go mainstream, with magazines and tabloids creating a frenzy over coded secrets. We'll talk about how outlets like Page 6 and the New York Post became a go-to for insiders with tantalizing secrets, like the blind that hinted at the music mogul with The Secret Son. Finally, we're hitting the anonymous internet era, where the rise of gossip websites took blinds to a whole new level. Suddenly, anyone with insider information or a grudge could spill secrets without accountability. And with today's social media driven blinds, the game has changed yet again. So buckle up, because we are diving into the blinds that shaped celebrity culture, the gossip pioneers who took risks, and the scandals that made us question everything we thought we knew. Let's get started.
Pop Culture Exposé, we're spilling all the secrets every single day. From Hollywood lights to the gossip blinds, catch the news.
All right, let's rewind the clock to Hollywood's golden age. We're going back to the roaring 1920s and 30s. Picture it. Glitzy premieres, dashing actors, and elegant actresses draped in pearls and fur. Behind all that glamour, there were secrets. And it didn't take long before people began to whisper about what these stars were really like off camera. Enter the gossip column, a brand new genre that would change Hollywood forever. So, what exactly was a gossip column back then? Think of it as the earliest form of social media tea spilling, a place where Hollywood's elite was placed under public microscope. These columns dished up tantalizing hints about affairs, feuds, and scandals, but with just enough mystery to keep readers guessing. And this, my friends, was when the very first blind items were born. Let's start with the man who made gossip a legitimate industry, Walter Winchell. Winchell wasn't just a columnist, he was a godfather of gossip. Starting in the 1920s, Winchell worked his way up from a struggling journalist to one of the most powerful voices in New York City, writing for the New York Evening Graphic, a tabloid so notorious it was nicknamed the pornographic for its bold style. Now, Winchell had a strategy. He realized that he could tell some very juicy stories without saying everything outright by giving just enough detail and using clever phrases like a certain leading man or a glamorous blonde starlet. He let readers fill in the blanks.
It's time, America. Time for Walter Winchell.
And now a page from our Sunday Morning Almanac. April 7th, 1897, 122 years ago today, the day Walter Winchell was born in New York City. A tabloid columnist turned broadcaster, by the 1950s, Winchell was a regular on TV.
Mr. and Mrs. North and South American, all ships at sea, let's go to press. Washington, D.C.
With his staccato delivery, that telegraph sound, and a trademark hat, Walter Winchell mixed breaking news
Near Royce City, Texas, between San Antonio and St. Louis. Several reported killed. Just happened. We may have more on it later. Next is Arthur Godfrey.
with celebrity gossip.
Jack Dragnet Webb made a very big denial of Jack O'Brien's scoop that Webb would not next marry Dorothy Town of Hollywood.
Alleged communist sympathizers were a favorite Winchell target.
Fort Monmouth. The McCarthy Committee has summoned 20 present and former employees at this Army base. At least 10 of them will use the Fifth Amendment as alibis.
Starting in 1959, Winchell served as narrator for the television classic The Untouchables.
On hand to watch the mobster leave was Elliot Ness, chief of the unique federal squad known as the Untouchables.
And they loved it. Everyone in New York, and eventually the entire country, was hooked. The public loved the feeling that they were in on the secret without actually knowing all of the details. But Winchell's influence didn't stop with Hollywood. Oh no, he also had his hand in politics, sports, and even crime. He befriended everyone from mobsters to movie stars, and they all knew that crossing Winchell meant risking public humiliation. He understood that gossip wasn't just idle chatter, it was power, and Walter wielded it with power and vengeance. Next up, though, let's talk about Louella Parsons. Now, if Winchell was the king of gossip, Louella was absolutely the queen. Based in Hollywood, she was the go-to gal for the industry secrets. But here's the difference. While Winchell used his words as a weapon, Louella played the charm card. Louella Parsons wasn't just spilling tea, she was drinking it with the stars. She knew all of the big players, and she got close with powerful studio heads who realized her gossip column was a double-edged sword. They could use her to promote movies, sure, but they also knew she could keep their secrets. Listen.
There's almost no time left, and
I really cannot believe it.
I know,
But
really
that is
flew by,
your
this
compliment, Dick. That's your compliment.
Oh.
You know, no, truthfully, it's your compliment. No, I just told you, really, you're so great at this
I
job.
can't take compliments.
Isn't it? Really? Well, no, I know. Well, no, you're like I am. I think public compliments are very embarrassing. I don't do very well with them either. But, well, that's the way we were brought up, you see.
What about public insults? Did you ever suffer at the hands of the old Crocs, Lolly, and Hedda, and the old gossip columnists?
Yes, but I'll tell you, I had a procedure about all that kind of thing. It was purely business. Never social. Never came to my home. Any Hollywood columnist. Mm-hmm. And I had some very rough times. Yes, I had some very rough times, particularly with Louella.
Yeah.
Very rough. But she was probably one of the greatest newspaper women that will ever be. Let's hand it to her.
Professional.
She was a pro newspaper woman. Nothing would stop her from getting a story if she possibly could. Well, that was her business, wasn't it? And
The results were a little sad in some cases for the victims.
Yes, but people obviously answered her.
Yeah, they didn't have to tell, did they?
They didn't have to tell. You see, this is really why sometimes you should not blame. Rex Reed has been criticized. You shouldn't blame Rex Reed. He tells you quite honestly when he comes, in my case, he came to my house. He said, whatever you do in this house today, I, as a reporter, feel privileged to write about.
Yeah.
You know, and he's absolutely right. It's a business, isn't it? He's in business and I'm in business, right?
Did you have him on the floor?
Louella was smart too. She had an uncanny ability to just stay close enough to the truth without actually crossing the line. And like Winchell, she made a habit of throwing in those clever hints. A certain A-list star has been spending too much time at the bar between takes, or Hollywood's latest heartthrob is rumored to have a few skeletons in his closets. And everyone ate it up. Louella's readers love the game of guessing who was involved, and her blinds were addictive as a soap opera. And then we have the one and only Hedda Hopper, Louella's rival and arguably the fiercest of this trio.
This is a story of my town. There's no town like it on the face of the earth, because its business is make-believe. And for over 50 years, the people in this town have been getting up and going to work to tell the world a story. Down in that valley, some of them are busy crowning an emperor, and others are fighting the Civil War again. Somewhere else, a band of cattle thieves are shooting it out with the sheriff's posse. And two people who only met this morning are being married in front of an army of cameramen and crew. For this is Hollywood. You know, I've lived in this town for many years. I've acted in it, and I've written about it for 21 years. I've seen spectacular changes, because everything Hollywood does is spectacular. So are its people, and they're part of this story. But no story has ever come out of Hollywood as spectacular as the change going on right now to its work, to its homes, to its people. And you wouldn't have to go far to find it.
Took gossip to a whole new level. She was less interested in charming people and more focused on controlling them. She believed that no one in Hollywood was untouchable, and she would spill the beans on anyone who crossed her path. Hedda, known for her outrageous hats and her outrageous attitude, she loved a good scandal, and she wasn't afraid to throw in details that other columnists might have held back. If she wanted a rumor to spread, it spread like wildfire, and because she often used those subtle hints, her readers felt like they were in on something big, piecing together clues like a puzzle. When she wrote a certain dark-haired dashing actor had been seen in some questionable company, everyone went wild trying to figure out who it could be. Hedda didn't just write about scandals, she created them. Her power was such that even studio heads feared her. She knew that by using these blind item style hints, she could expose secrets without ever saying who they were about. And as a result, no one could ever truly certain if it was about them, but they all lived in fear.
My good friend, Hedda Hopper.
How do you...
Your mother's told me so much about you two. You know, I do wish I could stay and chat, but I was due at a party downstairs an hour ago.
Now let's talk about the readers for a second, because without them, none of this world would have worked. Gossip columns and blind items became part of everyday life, especially as public grew more fascinated with Hollywood. Fans adored the glamorous lives of these stars, but they were even more interested in the secrets and the drama lurking beneath the surface. People would gather in coffee shops, workplaces, even around their radios, discussing the latest blind item and sharing their theories. They were practically detectives, piecing together the clues that these gossip giants left behind. Hollywood wasn't just about movies anymore. It was about secrets, the mystery, the thrill of the unknown. And that was the magic of the early blind items. They offered this delicious sense of mystery, feeding people's curiosity without ever satisfying it completely. It was like Hollywood's own private soap opera, except everyone was a character and the audience got to play a role in figuring out who was who. Exciting as this time was, blinds were also dangerous. Gossip columnists held real power, and blinds were one of their sharpest tools. Winchell, Parsons, and Hopper weren't just reporting on Hollywood, they were shaping it. Their columns had the ability to ruin reputations and careers and push stars into the spotlight or right out of it. And yet, because these blinds never directly named names, the columnists stayed just out of the reach of law. If someone wanted to sue, well, good luck proving that the blind was about them. This veil of plausible deniability made blinds even more enticing to readers who saw every new item as an insider's scoop. And that's how the first era of gossip columns and blind items really came to be. These early columnists laid the foundation for every gossip website, magazine, and social media account that came after. They showed the world that with a little mystery and a lot of clever wordplay, gossip could become something that feels like an adventure, one where fans get to play detective and the stars, whether they like it or not, become the suspects. So as we dive deeper into today's episode, remember this: the next time you read a blind, think about the legends who made this format what it is. Without Winchell, Parsons, and Hopper, we'd have no mystery, no whispers, and certainly no pop culture exposé.
Left behind. Still the same. That's right. Don't miss out.
All right, buckle up because we are heading into the golden age of the blind items. Picture this, it's 1950s. Hollywood is shining brighter than ever, and the star power is absolutely magnetic. Marilyn Monroe, Rock Hudson, Elizabeth Taylor, Marlon Brando, these weren't just actors, they were icons. But beneath the glitz and the glamour, secrets, and boy, did the public want in. This era from the 1950s through the 1980s took blind items to new heights. Gossip columnists were now wielding serious power, and blinds became the ultimate way to expose Hollywood's hidden secrets and scandals without getting themselves in hot water. And trust me, these blinds were juicy. Let's start with one of the most famous names in Hollywood, Marilyn Monroe. She was the ultimate blonde bombshell with that perfect blend of innocence and seduction that drove people wild. But Marilyn's life off-screen was just as fascinating and complicated as her on-screen persona, and the gossip columnists, oh, they knew it. Take the classic blind item from Louella Parsons. It hinted at a glamorous blonde starlet known for her beauty and troubled relationship who is spending late nights with a very married man in the industry. Now, it didn't take a detective to figure out who Louella was talking about. The rumor mill was already buzzing about Marilyn's alleged affair with powerful figures, including President Kennedy. Louella's blind item didn't confirm anything, of course. That was the beauty of it, but the implication was there and the readers were hooked. They wanted to know every detail of this bombshell's love life, and Louella kept them guessing. Marilyn's blind fed into her image as a tragic beauty, someone adored by millions but constantly entangled in scandal. And blinds like this one helped create that mystique. The public was spellbound, wondering who her next level might be, who she will be spending late nights with, and whether the rumors were true. And that's the magic of a great blind. It didn't tell you everything. It gave you just enough to let your imagination run a little wild. Now let's talk about Rock Hudson, Hollywood's leading man, the tall, dark, and handsome actor who had audience swooning in the 50s and the 60s. On screen, he was every woman's dream. Off screen, however, Rock Hudson was living a very different life, a life he couldn't reveal, at least not in that era. Blind items began circulating like crazy about a beloved, dashing actor with a deep, hidden secret. It was common knowledge among Hollywood insiders that Hudson was gay, but the public had no idea. Columnists, however, loved to drop hints. They referred to him as a leading man more than one side, or mention his close friendships with other men. Readers were left to speculate, but nothing was ever said outright, at least not back then. These blinds allowed Rock Hudson to keep his privacy while still giving Hollywood insiders and fans a taste of truth, and for Hudson, who feared the consequences of living openly, blind items offered a strange kind of protection. It was almost as though Hollywood had an unspoken agreement. Well, hint, but we won't tell. Hudson's blind served as a way for the public to satisfy their curiosity without blowing up his carefully maintained public image. Now, if you want a real, true Hollywood scandal, look no further than Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. Their romance was front page news in the 60s, and blinds and gossip columns feasting on every twist and turn. Taylor, already known for her beauty, talent, and numerous marriages, fell hard for Burton on the set of Cleopatra. But there was one big problem. Both Taylor and Burton were married to other people. The gossip columns went wild. Columnists hinted at a famous actress with violet eyes and a taste for trouble who had been seen cozying up to her co-star between takes. People didn't need to guess too hard. It was obvious who the blind was about, and this wasn't just any romance. It was a fiery, all-consuming affair that ultimately led to Taylor and Burton divorcing their spouses to be together. But the gossip didn't stop once they were officially an item. Oh no, their relationship was a gossip goldmine. Blinds hinted at their explosive fights, their lavish gifts, and their undeniable chemistry. Fans were riveted. It was like a real-life soap opera, and the blinds kept everyone on the edge of their seats. Taylor and Burton's romance was so big, it became known as the scandal of the century, and the blinds turned into one of Hollywood's hottest topics.
We're diving deep into the juiciest tales, reality, fame, and all the wild details. With Danny on the mic, it's...
All right, folks, we are entering into a whole new chapter of celebrity gossip, the wild, sensational, and no-hold-barred era of the 1980s and 90s, when tabloids became the kings of gossip and blind items found their permanent home. Picture it, racks lined up with magazines flashing all of these crazy headlines that practically screamed scandal. Everyone from Hollywood stars to rock legends to reality TV trailblazers was a fair game. And the blinds, they were juicier, bolder, and dare I say, even more ruthless. This was the time when gossip transitioned from coy whispers to screaming headlines, and blinds became a tabloid staple. And honey, this era changed the game forever. Let's start with the heavyweights, the National Enquirer and Star Magazine. These tabloids took blind items out of the gossip columns and splashed them across their front pages. They knew that their readers wanted more than just fluff. They wanted the dirt, the drama, and the dirty details. And if they had to use a blind item to hint at something explosive without getting sued, well, they were all in. National Enquirer became infamous for its blinds. They were often sensational, hinting at scandalous affairs, hidden drug habits, and even secret children. They read headlines like a famous pop star with a double life, or this A-list actor has a habit he's hiding, and the public couldn't get enough. People were drawn to the mystery, the chance to guess who these items might be about. Blinds in these tabloids weren't subtle. They were bold, brash, and often a bit trashy. But that's what made them irresistible. The period cemented blinds as a tabloid must-have. They didn't just hint anymore. They practically shouted. And readers felt like they were seen behind the curtain, getting a peek at a world that was darker, more thrilling, and far more messier than what Hollywood wanted them to see. Next, we have the legendary Page 6 in the New York Post. Now, this was a tabloid column with real prestige, blending scandal with New York's glitzy, gritty energy. Page 6 wasn't just interested in Hollywood. They were covering Manhattan's social scene, politicians, models, Wall Street giants, anyone who had a story worth telling and secrets worth hiding. And oh, did they deliver on blinds? A Page 6 blind could hint at a Wall Street bigwig with a big secret, or an it girl socialite caught with a mystery man. The best part, Page 6 wasn't afraid to push boundaries either. They gave just enough detail to make readers feel like insiders, knowing exactly who they were talking about without ever saying names outright. One classic blind that shook New York hinted at a certain real estate mogul with a few skeletons in his closet. Readers guessed it right away that it was none other than Donald Trump, even though Page 6 never confirmed it. Blinds like these fed into the intrigue of the rich and the famous, showing readers that even the most powerful figures had secrets, and Page 6 was happy to expose them one blind at a time. But let's not forget that this was the era of massive celebrity scandals, and who was more iconic than Princess Diana? By the late 80s and 90s, Diana's personal life had become tabloid fodder worldwide. The British tabloids, just as ruthless as their American counterparts, used blinds to hint at her tumultuous marriage, secret affairs, and the royal family's hidden drama. One particularly famous blind item hinted at a beautiful British icon who was trapped in a loveless marriage and seeking comfort in the arms of a mystery man. The public immediately guessed Diana, of course, but the mystery was what made it stick. Blinds gave readers a safe way to consume these royal scandals without the tabloids having to outright accuse a member of the royal family. And then there was Michael Jackson. The blinds about him were everywhere. The tabloids hinted at his reclusive nature, his ever-changing appearance, and his eccentric behavior. But because these blind items were written as mysteries, they could dance around the rumors without actually confirming anything. This kept readers hooked on the enigma of Michael Jackson, a celebrity who seemed both everywhere and nowhere. And behind the layers of blinds and mystery, there was much hiding. By the late 1990s, blinds weren't just gossip anymore. They were power. If a star ended up in a blind item, it was the talk of the town. Tabloids had the ability to shape public opinion, make or break careers, and even sway people's reputations. And blinds were one of their sharpest tools. Take Madonna, for example. At the peak of her fame, tabloids loved to drop rumors about her romantic life and her supposed diva demands. One famous blind item suggested that a certain pop icon had a list of extensive demands that included color-coordinated dressing rooms and candles flown in from France. The public, of course, knew that who they were talking about. Blinds like this crafted Madonna diva image, feeding the public's appetite for the larger-than-life personalities. And then there were the blinds hinting at the stars with addiction issues, with phrases like a beloved actor struggling with a secret habit. The 90s were the decade when blind items became darker, hinting at struggles beneath Hollywood's polished surface. This was the era when blinds stopped hinting at affairs and started delving into the personal battles and the private pains of the stars. Finally, we arrive at the late 1990s and the early 2000s when blinds made a new home online. Websites like Ain't It Cool News and The Smoking Gun weren't fully gossip sites, but they started to crack open Hollywood secrets in new ways. Suddenly, blinds weren't just limited to tabloids. Anyone with an internet connection could read and speculate on blinds, and the mystery grew even more intriguing. Tabloids began experimenting with online editions, and blind items took on a whole new life. People were no longer just readers, they were detectives, myself included, dissecting blinds, exchanging theories, and debating who was behind each mystery. This was the beginning of the fan-driven gossip culture that we see today. In the way the internet democratized blind items, letting readers around the world participate in Hollywood's biggest guessing game. There you have it. It was the tabloids that turned blind items into a permanent part of pop culture. From the National Enquirer to EP6 to the early internet, blinds became the backbone of celebrity gossip, giving readers an addictive taste of the truth wrapped in mystery. This era showed us that blinds could be as powerful as front page headlines, shaping reputations and feeding our endless curiosity about the lives of the rich and famous. And as we move into the age of the anonymous internet gossip, remember, every blind you read today owes a little something to those tabloid years, when blinds became bigger, bolder, and unforgettable.
We're diving deep into the juiciest tales, reality, fame, and all the wild details. With Danny on the mic.
Welcome to the dawn of the digital gossip, where Hollywood's secret left tabloids behind and found a new home, the internet. Picture it. It's the early 2000s, and suddenly anyone with a computer and a thirst for scandal could access celebrity gossip at just one click of a button.
Why are we so confident? Well, I think gossip speaks for itself. Listen up. Oh, and by the way, welcome to the Gossip Show.
Well, Madonna walks toward a church, and priests prepare themselves for the confession of a lifetime. And recently, when Madonna and Carlos walked toward St. Jude's Church in Miami, priests were preparing themselves for the event of the year. Unfortunately, it wasn't a confession. Too bad. It was actually the fact that maybe, just maybe, Madonna and Carlos might want to baptize little pretty Lourdes at this particular church. Nobody from Madonna's camp is talking, which is the usual thing, and that leaves us just to speculate, which is kind of what Carlos Leon does whenever someone says, hey, you guys ever going to get married? So he doesn't know either. Anyhow, listen, one of these days, if you walk by a tavern and you happen to see Lyle Lovett and Dermot Mulrooney and Ethan Hawke and Liam Neeson and Daniel Day-Lewis all drowning in their sorrows over their respective breakups with Julia Roberts, do me a favor, pull out a chair for Patrick Minocchia, her latest boyfriend, now ex-boyfriend. Yes, that's right. Julia Roberts, guys, is on the block once again. Comb your hair, brush your teeth. She's free. The luscious Julia apparently broke up with Patrick over the Christmas holidays. The way I hear it, it went down like this. Julia and Patrick invited about 15 of their closest friends to Julia's ranch in New Mexico, and then they got to talking. Apparently, she wanted Patrick to go about to L.A. with her to finish up Conspiracy Theory, her latest flick, and Patrick said, I can't. I got to work. I have people in the city. I got to train. And Julia apparently said, if you can't be there with me, you're going to be nowhere without me. So Patrick said, I can't go, which I got to respect his feelings for that, but I also have to wonder, what the hell is wrong with this guy? That's all for now. I'm AJ Benza.
This was the rise of the anonymous internet era where bloggers turned gossip into all-day, everyday obsession, and the stars, they had no idea what was coming. Today, we are diving into the key players who turned online gossip into an industry with names like Ted Casablanca, Lainey Gossip, Perez Hilton, and yes, a bit of the ever-elusive Enty. Together, these pioneers transformed the gossip world, bringing it into our daily scroll and our social media feeds. Buckle up, because this era, it changed everything. First up, let's talk about a true gossip icon, one so near and dear to my heart. That is Ted Casablanca.
First up, Jake Gyllenhaal got in a tussle up in Montreal working on his new movie Source Code because some dude in a bar said he never should have left Reese Witherspoon. True? I'm scared. Totally not true, Mickey. Although Jake did get in a pretty tense situation when a local blogger approached him in a bar and essentially blamed him for Heath Ledger's death. Jake tried to get the guy out of his face, and the blogger eventually got 86th out of the place.
Bad blogger.
Ooh, geez, the fights people will pick just to get attention. Really amazing and pretty sick stuff, huh? Almost as sick as this outfit. Man, I love it. Makes me wish I was straight. Ow. Well,
if you were a fan of blind items in the early 2000s, Ted Casablanca's column, The Awful Truth, was basically required reading, and you can find it on E! I would every day after school, wherever I could access the internet, while I was working, wherever I was, I had to constantly refresh to see if new publications were posted. So he was fantastic, and Casablanca had already built a name for himself in a traditional media with his clever coded blind and his sharp sense of humor. But he transitioned his column online through E! Online. He became a digital trailblazer.
Almost. Next up, Dancing with the Stars' Kate Gosselin, a gal who's known to bitch fight her way to the top, has already established herself as top diva on Dancing with the Stars. Ooh. True? Nope. Sorry to disappoint all you Cater haters out there. According to sources working directly on the show, Pam Anderson is being a total you-know-what with outrageous lighting and personal demands, making Kate look like a friggin' wimp. Or John. Same difference, right? Clearly, Pammy, hot as she was on the first show, was just upset she didn't have her dancing wardrobe designed by trashy lingerie's talented, sexy weavers. Anderson, who's known for strutting those knockers for all they're worth, surely was out to lunch on this one.
Casablanca's Awful Truth column gave us some of the earliest internet-friendly blinds packed with wit, mystery, and a touch of sash, which was a Ted staple and a signature of his. He was the one who took a classic blind item format of a certain handsome actor with a secret and made it feel fresh, modern, and accessible to a whole new generation of gossip lovers. Fans would log on daily to catch the latest lines and head to the comment section to debate who he could be talking about. Casablanca turned their blinds into a guessing game, letting readers play detective from their laptops and later their smartphones. He had a special way of engaging with his audience, giving just enough hints to make people feel like insiders while keeping that touch of mystery. Ted's blinds were juicy, yes, but they had a bit of class, wink, and a nod, a whole lot of style, and that is what made The Awful Truth a must-read for anyone obsessed with Hollywood's secrets.
Top of my piss list this week is Jesse James. I mean, man, it's one thing to allegedly screw around on your wife. It's another to screw her all over again by overshadowing Bullock's big Oscar win and humiliating her so much she had to cancel Blindside premieres around the world. Is that you, Bombshell McGee? Personally, I wish Sandy had gone to those red carpets to do the one thing that would really stick it to James, not mention his name once. Lastly, John Mayer is shocking, and I do mean shocking the world by cleaning up his act while on tour and has totally avoided getting overly bombed or laid. True? Yep, that's what those who hang with the notorious womanizer tell me, that the guy who lives to trash Jessica Simpson and use up and discard women like Jennifer Aniston is now all business. Yeah, right. Living the clean life, while he gets back to what first made him famous, his music. Remember that? It ain't gonna last. All it's gonna take is one chick delivering John's room service tray in an outfit like this. Man. Hey, didn't Jennifer Aniston get her sexy French maid's outfit from trashy lingerie? Yeah, so John's gonna be back to his skanky twittering ways in seconds.
Oh, here I am again. People want to know my name again. All right.
So that's it for this week from Trashy Lingerie, where Angelina shops. So that's how she keeps breath. So we'll see you next week, and we'll have more scandalous dish for you. See you then. Hey, where are you taking me?
Now let's head north to the border to Canada and talk about Lainey Gossip, aka Elaine Liu. Lainey burst onto the scenes in the early 2000s, bringing a unique, sharp perspective to celebrity gossip.
My blog is really the Friday night after work martini conversation about Ben Affleck or Brad Pitt or whoever, just online.
I don't think it's just a Friday night martini. My wife tells me all the time, there's the morning coffee happening with this conversation. And we were kind of chatting off camera about the idea of what you have built with the website and obviously now with the talk show. This whole idea of building a conversation around pop culture, around gossip.
Well, I think it's hugely important. I mean, I love that we're talking today about conversations because Lainey Gossip is a conversation. Every day I open my blog with Dear Gossips. It's a letter, and that introduces the day's content. And what I'm trying to do in that format, and it will never change, is Dear Gossips, here's what I'm thinking about, all my thoughts. Are we gonna fight about this? Let me know what you think. Yours in Gossip, Lainey. And it is meant to convey to people that, hey, we're vibing about this together.
She wasn't just about blinds, she was about context. Lainey wanted to give readers the backstory, the why behind the gossip, and that's what made her blog a hit. Her style was sassy, a little intellectual, and she wasn't afraid to call celebrities out in a way that felt personal and direct. Lainey's blinds had an almost literary quality wrapped up in her signature wit and unapologetic opinions. She dropped hints like an A-list actress with an A-list temper is making waves on set. and then add some insight about what might be driving that behavior. Her readers didn't just get the gossip, they got Lainey's take on the psychology and the dynamics behind it, giving them a whole new level of understanding.
I think it is about celebrity gossip, about pop culture, and the nature of speaking about these issues that makes gossip so relevant. What is it that makes gossip so popular?
When you're talking about the celebrity, that's just the introduction into the conversation. The celebrity is your conduit, but the conversation really is about what you believe in, what your values are, what you would have done in that situation. When you're talking about Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner getting a divorce,
Lainey Gossip quickly became one of the most respected gossip blogs out there. People love that she wasn't just spilling tea, she was analyzing it. And with her background in journalism, Lainey had credibility. She brought a sharp, no-nonsense vibe to her blinds, turning them into not just a mystery games, but social commentary. Next, we have Perez Hilton, the ultimate gossip bad boy, who took celebrity blinds and cranked them up to 11.
Notorious gossip columnist on the internet, and may I say, he was the first to do it. He was even known as the most hated man in Hollywood at one point. Sorry, Perez. Now he's in a new series on Netflix. I watched it. It's very fascinating as the voice of 2000s Hollywood. Welcome to DBL, Perez Hilton.
Yeah. Oh, Perez, so good to talk to you. You said like the most hated man, except everyone wanted to be in that column in some sort of aspect. So let's not get crazy here. So let's get.
Perez didn't do it subtly. He did scandal. His blog, perezhilton.com, exploded in the early 2000s, making him one of the most notorious figures in gossip. Perez didn't just report on celebrities, he marked them up with photos, drew crude doodles, and plastered them with captions that were often harsh, sometimes hilarious, and always unforgettable. Perez blinds were loud, bold, and unapologetically messy. He didn't shy away from controversy. In fact, he thrived on it. Blinds on perezhilton.com were all about the shock factor. He dropped something like a famous pop princess can't keep her hands off the bottle, and everyone knew he was referencing Britney Spears. Perez's approach was brash and often crossed lines.
Bloom, how would you summarize 2000s Hollywood?
Was it just they targeted celebrities?
I was not alive during the Wild Wild West, but I would compare it to the Wild Wild West because there were no rules. Everything was new when it came to the clash of celebrities and the birth of social media and websites like mine. It used to be just the celebrity magazines, but now there were so many more outlets and so many more apps and opportunities for celebrities to be seen. So I would run paparazzi photos every single day, including paparazzi photos of celebrities on vacation, which unfortunately would help these young troublemakers keep tabs on who was out of town.
But for better or worse, he shaped the entire era of internet gossip. Look right behind me. I have one of his first books. Perez understood that people loved gossip that was direct, unapologetic, and let's be honest, a little mean.
You were once referred to as the most hated man in Hollywood, and I'd love to get your take on this, Perez. Do you think your content from the 2000s would fly today in this climate?
Absolutely. Even if publicly people would say that's awful, privately they would be looking for the craziest, most salacious, most awful thing. Because a lot of us, not everyone, but it's human nature to be driving, and if you see a car wreck that's not, people seriously injured, everybody just slows down. Or, I won't mention names, but still in 2022, there are leaks of inappropriate photos of celebrities. And I don't post those anymore, but people are constantly, oh, I need to see it on Twitter. Who has the photo? Let me see the photo. So people still want that content. And even though they want that, I will not give it to them.
Why have you made the decision, Perez, that you no longer want to post those types of photos?
Yeah.
It's a long story, but I realized it was wrong. I realized I shouldn't do that.
He tapped into that raw side of celebrity culture where blinds were just subtle hints. They were outright allegations designed to stir the pot. Love him or hate him, Perez made gossip louder, faster, and impossible to ignore.
Well, it's kind of a deeper question I wanted to get to because, I don't know if we're around the same age. I'm 45, but I look back at early 2000s me, and I have a lot of regrets about what I did, how I handled things, how I spoke to people. If you could go back to then and talk to that version of you, what would you tell them? What would you tell yourself to avoid? Because it seems like, I'm assuming that there's a lot of positives, but a lot of regrets in your life.
I would have told myself, you are enough. I was acting out of insecurity, and that's not an excuse. I take full accountability for my past behavior, my words and actions. I was an adult when I was doing all of these things in my late 20s. But I was getting all of this attention, and I knew what I was doing was wrong, and I did not care. I was so selfish. I thought, wow, this one thing that I'm doing is working, it's resonating. I'm being rewarded for my bad behavior. And then that made me even behave worse. I was like, well, I've got to keep this up and be even more outlandish and crazy and shocking.
A negative feedback loop.
I appreciate your honesty.
Now, let's dip our toes into the world of Enty, the elusive creator behind Crazy Days and Nights, which I have been covering in every episode thus far. While we'll save the full deep dive for Enty for another episode, no discussions of the early 2000s internet gossip scene would be complete, unfortunately, without him. Enty brought something new to the table, a sense of insider knowledge. His blinds weren't just rumors, they felt like they came from someone who knew Hollywood's darkest secrets, someone who had been behind the scenes, and the mystery of Enty's identity only added to the intrigue. Who was this person? A lawyer? An insider? Chunk from the Goonies? Robert Downey Jr.? Those have been all the speculations. No one knew for sure, but everyone wanted to find out. Crazy Days and Nights became one of the go-to site for fans who wanted blinds with a bit of edge, a bit of grit. Enty's blinds hinted at serious scandals, not just affairs and bad behavior, but the underbelly of Hollywood. People loved the thrills of reading his blinds, piecing together clues, and trying to solve the puzzle. And with the anonymous nature of the internet, Enty could keep on posting his 11 blinds, his 11 reveals every day that were as bold as they were chilling. Crazy Days and Nights took the blinds game to a whole new level, creating a world where gossip was darker, deeper, and often much more controversial. So what made this time period of gossip in blinds so different? Anonymity. Unlike tabloids, where editors and writers had to be somewhat careful, online bloggers could hide behind the screen names, alter egos, and the veil of the internet. They could post rumors and blinds that were way riskier with a lot less accountability. The anonymous nature of the web meant that blinds could be wilder, the rumors bolder, and the gossip a little bit more dangerous. For readers, this was thrilling. Of course, you can log on to Perez Hilton, Lainey Gossip, E's Awful Truth, or Crazy Days and Nights and get blinds that felt like they came straight from Hollywood's grapevine. It felt real, raw, and unfiltered, as the internet had ripped down the last barrier between the stars and their secrets. And for the first time, fans were interacting with these blinds in real time, sharing theories, connecting dots, and building a whole new community around celebrity gossip. The internet era changed celebrity blinds forever. These sites didn't just report gossip, they created viral moments. A single blind could spread across blogs, social media, and fan forums in minutes. And thanks to the internet's global reach, these blinds weren't just limited to Hollywood fans. They reach people around the world, feeding the public's insatiable hunger for celebrity secrets. Perez, Ted, Lainey, and Enty weren't just bloggers. They were the new gatekeepers of Hollywood's gossip scene. Their blinds became part of the Daily Scroll, a mix of mystery and revelation that felt fresh and addictive. They made blinds faster, more interactive, and let's be real, a little bit more intense. Fans didn't just read blinds, they dissected them, analyzed them, and in many cases, believed them. Me as well. I'm guilty. This era made blinds a global phenomenon, and the rest of the gossip world hasn't been the same since. There you have it, the anonymous internet era, a time where gossip went digital, blinds got bold, and everyone with a blog and an opinion became a part of the game. These pioneers, Ted Casablanca, Lainey, Perez Hilton, and more, turned blinds into an internet sensation, giving fans a front row seat to Hollywood secrets like never before. And as we move into today's world of Instagram, blinds and social media sources, remember it all started here with bloggers who dared to spill Hollywood's best kept secrets from behind a screen. And in the age of digital gossip, these blinds are still out there waiting for us to piece them together or prove them wrong. So as we dive into the internet fueled world of gossip today, remember it all started here with these early bloggers who turned Hollywood shadows into daily reading material. They set the stage for every Instagram line, every TikTok gossip thread, and every viral whisper that makes us wonder who's behind the mask. Because of Ted, Lainey, Perez, and Enty, blinds went from magazines pages to our phones, making us all a part of Hollywood's most mysterious game, uncovering the truth behind the stars. And trust me, there is a lot more where that came from. So grab your detective hat. We're just getting started on the digital side of gossip.
Fix of pop culture every night. Ooh, what's happening in Beverly Hills? Danny Gossip.
All right, so now we have explored the rise of gossip columns, the golden age of Hollywood blinds, and the digital takeover. Let's get to the good stuff. The blinds that truly made the waves. These aren't just your average rumors. These are blinds that had glued people to their screens, calling their friends and refreshing gossip sites that their lives depended on it. We're about to dive into the most iconic blinds of each era, stories so tantalizing that they've become a part of pop culture history. From whispered affairs to hidden secrets that had everyone talking, these blinds captured Hollywood's biggest mysteries and had us all dying to know who was behind the mask. So grab your detective hats because we're about to unlock the blinds that kept Hollywood and the world on edge. So blind item number 1, who is the married crooner with a secret lover? All right, let's start with a real old Hollywood classic. Who's the married crooner with a secret lover? Picture this. It is the golden age of Hollywood. Stars are shining brighter than ever. Movie premieres are the social event of the season. And one man's voice has every woman in America swooning. That's right. We're talking about a beloved singer who's stolen hearts on stage and screen. But here's the twist. The crooner's romantic inclinations, well, they weren't exactly exclusive to his devoted wife waiting at home. Now, this line was carefully worded by the ever sly Hedda Hopper, who had a real-life knack for delivering just enough detail to leave readers dying to know more. She painted a portrait of a dark-haired, dashing singer known for his velvet voice and charming on-screen persona, who had been spotted keeping late hours with a certain young actress making her Hollywood debut. Hopper left out the names, of course. She wasn't about to land herself in a lawsuit, but it didn't stop the public from speculating. People in every corner of Hollywood whispered that it was none other than Bing Crosby, a man known for his smooth talk and even smoother secrets. Hopper's blinds left just enough room for debate. Was it really Crosby? Could it have been one of his contemporaries? And was this affair a one-time thing, or was it a pattern of late-night rendezvous? Hedda Hopper had everyone hooked, and the guessing game began. In Hollywood, this was more than gossip. It was almost a scandal. Fans saw Bing as this ideal family man, but thanks to blinds like this, the public began to wonder if there was more to his life than meets the eye. Moving on to another classic Hollywood mystery, let's talk about a blind that had everyone whispering. This blonde bombshell is making waves with her new director, and his wife knows it. Now, you could probably guess that when we say bombshell, we're talking about one of those screen sirens who practically define Hollywood glamour. Think platinum curls, iconic red lips, and a voice that was pure seduction. In the 1950s, Louella Parsons, known for her strategic friendships with Hollywood elite, published a blind about a young starlet who was reportedly getting much too close to a big-name director on set. The twist? The director was married and his wife was just around enough to notice that things were looking a little too friendly between the leading lady and her husband. Parsons didn't drop names, but the hints were more than enough to get Hollywood buzzing. So who did everyone think it was? Well, of course, Marilyn Monroe was at the top of the list. She was the ultimate blonde bombshell, a starlet whose charms had captivated audiences and allegedly a string of powerful men in the industry. The blind seemed to point to her rumored affairs with big names like Elia Kazan, hinting at a world where flirtatious and friendly connections blurred the lines between business and pleasure. Hollywood was practically shaking with the curiosity and the fans. They really couldn't get enough of the intrigue. And this was the era of secrets. And the blinds, this was the one that had everyone asking, was Marilyn really that close with the directors? Or was she just a part of the legend that Hollywood had built around her? And now let's fast forward to a more recent era, when blind items hit the glossy page of tabloids like page 6 in the New York Post. This time, this one was titled, "Who's the Music Mogul with the Secret Son?" The blind item dropped in the early 2000s when celebrity gossip was everywhere, but blinds were taking on a sharper edge, delving into the secret lives of powerful industry figures who had once been untouchable, at least almost. Here's how this one went down. According to a blind, a certain famous music mogul, someone whose name was synonymous with big record deals and superstar collaborations, had allegedly fathered a child and kept it hidden from the public eye for years. The blind hinted that this mogul was so careful about his public image that he had gone to great lengths to keep this part of his life under wraps. Rumor had it that he had been financially supporting the child, but keeping things strictly behind the scenes closed to protect his reputation and maintain that perfectly polished image. Naturally, everyone started speculating, and the name that kept on coming up was none other than Sean Diddy Combs. The public couldn't get enough, and everyone was dying to know if it was this more than just a rumor. The blind wasn't just juicy. It raised real questions about image, control, and the lengths to which celebrities and those behind the scenes go to protect their brand. The public was obsessed, and the blinds, like this one, reminded everyone that in Hollywood, what you see is only half the story. And there you have it. 3 unforgettable blinds that turned Hollywood on its head, sparking debates, feeding rumors, and holding us hooked for decades. Whether it's secrets from the silver screen or whispers from today's music moguls, blinds are a reminder that in a world of celebrity, there's always a little bit more murking behind the surface. Now, grab your detective hats because we are just getting started. And there you have it, our journey from Hollywood whispers to the rise of the digital age, where blinds became a full-fledged internet obsession. From Ted Casablanca's playful puzzles to Perez Hilton's no-filter approach, we've seen how anonymous internet era took blinds out of the magazines and into our daily scroll. These bloggers changed the way we see celebrity gossip, making secrets feel closer, juicier, and somehow ours to discover. But here's the thing. This was just the beginning, because in our next episode, we're diving in even deeper into the world of internet blinds, the age of social media, where everyone from your next door neighbor to your favorite Instagram influencer could be in on Hollywood's darkest secrets. So stay tuned, my fellow detectives. Grab your magnifying glass, because the next chapter of Blinds is about to get even more intense. And don't forget, if you loved today's episode, please give it a like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I definitely appreciate any feedback, good or constructive. Please leave a 5-star review. And until next time, keep your eyes open and your guesses sharp, because in the world of blinds, nothing is what it seems.
Tune into the buzz, it's the talk of the day. From Bravo shows to the latest celeb spree, we've got the tea, come sip it with me. Danny Gossip, Pop Culture Exposé, we're spilling